guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. The story I want to talk about now is, again, I'm going to be expanding a little bit of some of the topics I talk about because let's face it, the 24/7 raging on women and stuff like that, it gets a little tiring and I just want to spread, I'll still be doing that stuff, but I still want to talk about other topics. And this one's kind of interesting, the fragile woke rage about Twitter buyout. You know, many of you guys know that, of course, Donald Trump was removed from Twitter, as was Milo Yiannopoulos, as was Alex Jones, as was a lot of conservatives. And yeah, some of them spoke some pretty crazy stuff, but under the First Amendment, they're allowed to. Well, Twitter came out, and there's crazy things coming out from both sides, let's be honest about this, but only one side seems to get banned from everything. So, of course, it's politically motivated. Well, now the fragile woke are screaming in rage because basically Elon Musk said, hey, I'm getting rid of 75% of the employees. And they're kind of, because remember, it's all about anytime anybody that's on the right or conservative or very liberal, true liberal, open-minded liberal, anytime they said, hey, we shouldn't be banning these people from having a public square to talk about things, the crazies over on the left or with Twitter said, well, just make your own company. Well, Twitter is now becoming a free speech company with Elon picking it up. And instead of them saying, well, we're going to go make a different company, now they're screaming in rage. So I played this video on my last segment and come to find out YouTube, it had some music on there that I guess YouTube didn't like. And so I'm not going to play it again because I don't want to edit it out both times. But what this is it's a day in the life of a Twitter employee. And she comes in here and she's basically... she comes in and schedules a booth for a 30-minute meeting. Then she orders a very posh lunch. It looks like asparagus and maybe steak tips or something like that. And then on top of, I guess she got the shrimp and rice. And then on top of that, she goes in and relaxes in one of the rooms with a foosball table. And then she comes into a couch in a relaxation room to, I guess this is a nap room or something like that. And then there's the yoga studio. And then she does a video meeting for God knows how long. And then she gets a custom-made espresso. And she comes in here and then pours herself a glass of wine, goes up to the rooftop where they have like beanbag or cornhole, which that's a game where you fill a bag full of like dried corn and toss it, trying to get it in the hole. And this was her trip to San Francisco's Twitter headquarters. I mean, talk about a posh and easy life. Now, Elon's coming in and he's basically saying, what do you do? How much do you work? Yeah, you're not worth it. And he's going to be laying off 75% of these employees. Well, they wrote an open letter to him to tell him he better not. Now, here's the thing. This is an at-will state, I believe, which means you can be hired and or fired at will. They can just say, you're fired. Or you can say, I quit. And you don't need to give any special notice, and there's no compensation or anything that comes that way. So when this happens, what do you think it's going to happen when you write a letter to the new owner demanding things? Well, this is what happened when you have a bunch of soft employees that are going to get canned and now need to find a new job in a recession. We're going to see how that goes. But here's the letter they wrote to him, staff, Elon Musk, and board of directors. Now, you notice they put staff first instead of Elon Musk. That's kind of disrespectful, and he will notice that. Trust me. We, the undersigned Twitter workers, believe the public conversation is in jeopardy. So all of a sudden, when they don't have control of the narrative, it's in jeopardy. Elon Musk planned to lay off 75% of Twitter workers will hurt Twitter's ability to serve the public conversation. A threat of this magnitude is reckless, undermines our users' and customers' trust in our platform, which is zero, and is a transparent act of worker intimidation. So apparently, having a new owner come in and saying we're going to be laying off people is intimidation. No, it's not intimidation. It's called getting fired. Welcome to the real world. Twitter has significant effects on its societies and communities across the globe as we speak. Twitter is helping to uplift independent journalism in Ukraine and Iran, as well as powering social movements around the world. All left-leaning, well, most left-leaning. A threat to workers at Twitter is a threat to Twitter's future. These threats have an impact on us workers and demonstrate a fundamental disconnect with the realities of operating Twitter. They threaten our livelihoods. Who cares? Access to essential health care. Who cares? And the ability for visa holders to stay in the country they work in. I mean, sorry to hear that, But who cares? It's a job. He's not there to make sure your life is easy. He's there to offer things, and if you find those things acceptable, you are there to provide labor. If those things don't match, you're out. But see, these are the softies that came out of college that think the world is all roses and flowers, and now they're discovering the real world of having to provide something for the money you're given. Congratulations. They say they threaten, I read that stuff. We cannot do our work in an environment of consistent harassment and threats. Without our work, there is no Twitter. What is the constant harassment and threats? Him coming in and saying, I'm firing you, by the way. They say without our work, there is no Twitter. Oh, there'll be Twitter. It'll just be Twitter without you. They continue on. We call on Twitter management, they're all getting fired, by the way, and Elon Musk to cease the negligent layoff threats. They're not threats. They're actually happening. As workers, we deserve concrete commitments so we can continue to preserve our integrity of our platform. Here's your concrete commitment. You're getting fired. Again, this is how it's laid out. Gang, I've been in the real world. I've worked in it for 30 plus years. This is how it works. Value versus what you're paid. Your value is very little, so you got to go. They say we demand of our current and future leadership. Not we ask, not we would request. We demand. That's not how you start negotiations. Respect. We demand leadership to respect the platform and the workers who maintain it by committing to preserving the current headcount. No. Safety. We demand that leadership does not discriminate against workers on the basis of their race, gender, disability, orientation, or political beliefs. We also demand safety for workers on visas who will be forced to leave the country they work in if they are laid off. Okay, I agree with not discriminating against all those other things except political beliefs. Why? It's a business. There should be no political beliefs in a business. And the fact that you feel that that's important enough to put in there and you don't want to get laid off because of your political beliefs tells me that, of course, your political beliefs are bleeding over into the platform, as we all know. It's one of the reasons that Twitter hasn't made much money and is kind of slowly dying. It's because the politics are one way only. Like, oh, we accidentally banned this person. And they've said that 1,000 times, and every single time it's, oops, accidentally been conservative or open-minded liberal. They say protection. We demand Elon Musk explicitly commit to preserve our benefits, those both listed in the merger agreement and not, i.e. remote work. So even though there's nothing in any contract or paperwork they've signed, they're demanding free to be able to work from home. No. Nope. Elon's already said he finds people more productive when he can have management watch them. Agree with it or not, he's the new owner. This is how businesses work. It's a private company now. We demand leadership to establish and ensure fair severance policies for all workers before and after any change in ownership. Maybe, if he wants to, but if it's not in a contract, bye-bye. Dignity. We demand transparent, prompt, and thoughtful communication around our working conditions. We demand to be treated with dignity and not to be treated as mere pawns in a game played by billionaires. Oh, it's not a game. It's a business. And see, this is what happens. I talk all the time about these weak men make hard times. Well, right now you have weak CEOs and weak businesses and weak colleges and tells everybody they can be coddled and they're special and they're your own little snowflake and your own little flower and you're important too. No, those are going away. When companies are now on a bottom line because they can't borrow endlessly and they need to show some revenue, the good times ain't a-rolling. You're out. Now, the good news is the guys that are doing a lot of the blue-collar work, they're still essential. They're still necessary. They're still needed. So when I talk about the good times and the hard times, there are some jobs that are essential. Being a snowflake at Twitter, being able to walk around and get your chai latte and maybe go bowling like they do at Facebook or playing foosball for a couple hours to relax and get my mind in the right headspace, that's not going to work anymore. And again, whether any of these platforms, whether it's some of these hack journalists out there, whether it's Meta, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whether it's any of these businesses, all these snowflakes are going to find out what a hard time is. And again, when you keep putting weak people in weak positions and businesses fail and they keep chasing after the wrong, ideology, and people say, I'm not spending money with you anymore, like they did at Netflix and on HBO, you're going to see the tune change. Economies, when they come crashing down and the hard times come, people find out real quick what needs to happen. And to show you how far this goes, even the New York Post is posting here, Elon Musk Twitter deal still on track, despite national security report. Now, why is this all of a sudden a national security threat? Because the left-leaning no longer will be controlling Twitter. Elon Musk, who says, hey, you know what? I think everybody should have free speech and be able to speak your mind as long as it's within the governmental law. That's okay. Well, here in the United States, we have the First Amendment. And so no one should be removed from a platform for basically about anything they say. You know, one of the things they have over on Locals, where I have my Locals channel and where I keep pushing it, is because there's only one moderator of that channel, me. And you know how many of those comments I've removed to date? 0. I tell everybody, hey, you know what? You want to prove your point? Discuss it. If somebody really bothers you, block them. You know, that's a great thing. If a web page or somebody that's talking really bothers you, you can turn it off. They're not even in your face. But again, snowflakes want to control, instead of controlling what you think, they're going to control what you're allowed to hear, so that way you have no choice but to think the way they want you to think. And because Twitter will be bought out by Elon Musk, and he says, I'm going to open it up, and I'll let Donald Trump back, and I'll let Alex Jones back, all of a sudden it's a national security threat. Just keep that in mind as things progress forward. I think you're going to see this swing back to the right, or at least back to the center, hopefully, so we can have a more nuanced discussion about topics. It's why Facebook and Twitter and other places like it are slowly losing to places like Rumble and Odyssey and Locals and all these other platforms, because these other platforms realize these guys are squeezing themselves to death. There's going to be nothing left in the long run because they keep silencing everybody that wants to have a voice. And those people will still say what they want to say. They're just going to say it somewhere else. Guys, if you're on YouTube, make sure to join me over on Locals. I have another 10 or 15 minutes I do on most of my videos that you don't get to see here on YouTube because of Big Mama YouTube. So join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. Become a supporter today. We got lots of fun events going. This weekend on Saturday the 29th, we're going to be doing a double feature, 2 movies, Aliens and Young Frankenstein for Halloween. I'm going to be live streaming those. And then I've got a Rust server I'm building. I've got a Valheim server. We've got a Gilded where you can speak and do voice speech back and forth while you're gaming or talking politics. All that's over on betterbachelor.locals.com, so join me over there today. For the rest of us here on Locals, here's the next story.